So now we have Gaur Purnima coming 28th. We started something, Gaura Leela at 3 o'clock every day. Yesterday we did Adi Leela some portions. Just stories, a simple presentation of Chaitanya Charitamrita. And I hope like we are studying. When I studied Bhagavatam also, I did like that only. I know like this only will continue. I said, no, now we have to learn Bhagavatam properly. First canto, every chapter I gave only a summary, one chapter at a time. And then I said, now we have to study Bhagavatam properly. Chaitanya Charitamrita also start serious study. Now we are doing Gaur Purnima.
Prabhuji, I will give the direct link.
You are there at you are attending that?
Prabhuji, I didn't knew yesterday.
3.1.3. Sorry, t.ly/temple. Same link, what we are having now. The same link is for morning Brahma Samhita class. Those who are not attending can attend. And then this is Bhagavatam, and the same link we have in the evening, afternoon time, we have Gaura Leela. What happened? Your Krishna book is not happening. It will happen after the course.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I'll discuss with you. Okay, Hare Krishna. So now let us go to Ved.
Prabhuji, I put the direct link in chat.
Now what to do? Raj Uvacha
Rajovacha
Putra Shatru Bhagavata
Putrakshatur Bhagavata
Preyenasa Sangamaha
Venasa Sangamaha
Sangamaha
Kadavasaha Sambhada
Padavasaha Samvada
Samvada
Etad Varnayanah Prabhu
Etad Varnayanah
Varnayanah
Prabhu
Prabhuः
Raja Uvacha
Rajovacha
Uvacha
Putra Shatrur Bhagavata
Putrakshatur Bhagavata
Preyenasa Sangamaha
Maitreyenasa Sangamaha
Kadavasaha Sambhada
Padavasaha Samvada
Etad Varnayanah Prabhu
Varnayanah Prabhu
Rajo Uvacha
Rajovacha
Putra Shatrur Bhagavata
Putrakshatur Bhagavata
Preyenasa Sangamaha
Maitreyenasa
Nasa
Sangamaha
Sangamaha
Kadavasaha Sambhada
Avasaha Samvada
Etad Varnayanah Prabhu
Etad
Etad
Varnayanah
Varnayanah
Prabhu
Prabhuः
Rajo Uvacha
Rajo
Rajovacha
Uvacha
Shatra Bhagavata
Putrashatru Bhagavata
Maitreyenasa Sangamaha
Maitreyenasa Sangamaha
Kadavasaha Sambhada
Kadavasaha Samvada
Etad Varnayanah Prabhu
Etad
Varnayanah Prabhuः
Raja Uvacha. The king said, Kotra, wherein? Shatuho, with Vidura. Bhagavata, with his grace. Maitrena, with Maitreya. Asa, there was. Sangamaha, meeting. Kada, when. Va, also. Saha, with. Samvadaha, discussion. Etar, this. Varnaya, describe. Naha, unto me. Prabho, my Lord. The king asked Shukdev Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and his grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige my lord and describe this to us. The king asked Shukdev Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and his grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige my lord and describe this to us. Yes, everybody is. Oh, Neha Sarkar has read before. Hare Krishna, Neha Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Exactly as Sonaka Rishi inquired of Suta Goswami, and Suta Goswami replied, so Srila Suka Goswami replied to King Parikshit's inquiries. The king was very anxious to understand the meaningful discussion that took place between two great souls. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Nahamine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisheshaya Shunyavadi Pashad Deshatahārine Jayo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. One more we can do. Nahi alpato dayastasya Gujurasya amalatmanaha Tasmin varyasi prashnaha Sadhu vadopabhrimhitaha. Na, never, he certainly, alpartha, small, unimportant, purpose, udayaha, raise, tasya, his, vidurasya, of vidura, amala atmanha, of the saintly man, tasmin, in that, variyasi, highly purposeful, prashnaha, question, sadhurvada, things approved by saints and sages, upabrimhitaha, full wish. Saint Budura was a great and pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his questions to His Grace Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful on the highest level and approved by learned circles. Saint Budura was a great and pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his questions to His Grace Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful on the highest level and approved by the learned circles. So who is going to read now? Yes, Poonam Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. But questions and answers among different classes of men have different value. Inquiries and mercantile men in a business exchange cannot be expected to be highly purposeful in spiritual values. Questions and answers by different classes of men can be guessed by the caliber of the persons concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, the discussion was between Lord Krishna and Arjun, the Supreme Person and the Supreme Devotee, respectively. The Lord admitted Arjun to be his devotee and friend, Bhagavad Gita 4.3, and therefore any sane man can guess that the discussion was on the topic of the Bhakti Yoga system. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on the principle of Bhakti Yoga. There is a difference between Karma and Karma Yoga. Karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by the performer, but Karma Yoga is action performed by the devotee for the satisfaction of the Lord. Karma Yoga is based on bhakti, on pleasing the Lord, whereas karma is based on pleasing the senses of the performer himself. According to Srimad Bhagavatam, one is advised to approach a bona fide spiritual master when one is actually inclined to question from an elevated level of spiritual understanding. A common man who has no interest in spiritual values has no need to approach a spiritual master just as a matter of following fashion. As a student, Maharaj Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Shukdev Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master in the transcendental science. Both of them knew that the topics discussed by Vidura and Rishi Maitreya were elevated, and thus Maharaj Parikshit was very interested in learning from the bona fide spiritual master. Hare
Hari.
Krishna. Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnanajanashalakya Chakshumritima Tasmai Sri Guru. So now there is question answer. Prabhupada is saying very important point. That unless we have questions, what kind of spiritualist we are? How we can see we are spiritual when we do not have questions? A man is known by what kind of question predominate in his mind. There are the animals. Our only question is eating, sleeping, where I'll eat, when I'll sleep. That's all. Now somebody was telling me, how do you know that's what animal is doing? That you cannot know, only Shastra can reveal. Right? We also do not find symptoms also of that. Animal is basically in a stage of consciousness wherein the senses are totally strong. And some human being also become like animals, wherein the spiritual life is opportunity is lost. Animal goes through an experiential learning where the senses dragging him for particular kind of gratification. And in human life also, many times we have all experienced a life where brain doesn't function, nothing functions. A person like an animal just runs behind a sense object. Then what is spiritual life? Prabhupada is to say, a man who's running after to satisfied belly and genital whole day, what spiritual life he can have? Not possible. So spiritual life comes when these kind of questions predominate in the mind. And so if there is no question predominating in the mind, anybody will have. I'm not able to chant attentively. I'm not able to read with time. I'm not able to argue. Everybody should have a question. Anybody serious in spiritual life means full of questions. Full. That's not without question means no question. In fact, Srila Prabhupada used to be very happy, but devotees used to have good questions. Even Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna asked so many questions. Correct? The whole Bhagavatam is full of questions. Everywhere only question, answers. So Prabhupada is saying we don't take Guru as a fashion. Just like people spend time, I heard they spend 50,000, 1 lakh just to have a nasty dog at a place. And then next life become another dog. So people are so attached to having these kind of fashions. But what is it meant for? Some kind of prestige in society. I don't know whom they want to show, who the audience they are showing, but some kind of prestige in society. But then, this is not the way we take a guru. Not a fashion. Oh, this man is very famous. I'm his disciple. It's kind of a branded cloth wearing. Some people wear branded clothes, branded jewelry, everything branded, because that gives them some kind of a mileage in society. So similarly, there is branded guru. I have this guru as well. But did you ever ask him a question? No. Did he answer any of your question? No. Then what's the point of a guru? Just like you say, I got admitted to this college. Did you learn anything there? No. Did you attend any class? No. Did you ask any question? No. Then why take an admission in a college? Doesn't make sense. So we taken a guru so that he can guide me in spiritual life. But are you taking guidance? No. It doesn't make sense. That's what has become today now. Just a drama. So Prabhupada says, no, it should not be like a fashion. The guru means we have some questions. Tasmad guru prapaddeta jigyasa shaya uttamam. Guru means you are going to him for some spiritual inquiry. Shabde parecha nishnatam brahmani upashavashayam. And the two qualifications guru has mentioned. Shabde parecha nishnatam. He is totally established in the truth. Shabda from the Shastra. And therefore he is on a spiritual platform. Brahmani upashavayam. There are not one, there are many, many places. Guru's qualification, disciple qualification given. So what the qualification of the disciple? Jigyasu Shreya Uttama. There is two things called prayer and Shreya. Prayer is an immediate benefit. My back is paining nowadays. There's so much pain in stuff. That is prayer, if that can get solved. Once what happened, Prabhupada was traveling in a train. As a devotee used to always guard him because he was quite famous at his time. And in India, what's the tradition? If the famous sadhu is going, people run to him for Ashirvada. So Prabhupada was going by train, and one full, they booked some compartments, disciples are there. And the compartment, Srila Prabhupada is there, they had guarding it, that people don't enter to bother him. So two people wanted to meet Prabhupada. So they were at the gate. They say, what do you want? Want some Ashirvada. They did not allow them entry. So don't disturb Acharya. Prabhupada all the time doing something, planning, organizing. His whole worldwide movement is running, dictating letters. He's busy. So they said they were not allowing entry. What happened, for certain reason, the gate of the compartment opened. They could eye-to-eye contact they could make to Prabhupada. And a general Prabhupada said, send them in. So those two people came. So Prabhupada was talking to his disciples and they gave them space. In opposite seat, they both sat down. Swamiji, we want some Ashirvada, as usual. So Prabhupada said, what kind of Ashirvada do you want? What do you want? No, Swamiji, give us an Ashirvada. My back is paining. So the devotees all started laughing because this is what people have been bugging him for days. My back is paining, my child is not getting married, I'm not getting job. These are all the general Ashirvada people want, and I don't have a child. Like that. So Prabhupada looked at him mercifully. He said, see, these are all people around me you're seeing. I don't know them before, few years before, they don't know me. But today, they have dedicated their life to serve Krishna. Why don't they ask for Ashirvada like this? So then these people thought, a very dangerous person. He gives some Ashirvada, I'll become a brahmachari or something. They immediately got up and just ran away. Ran when they got scared of Prabhupada. Hey, these are dangerous fellows. What Ashirvada? I'll just do Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. So this is how the people have. For them, Ashirvada means, continue with the material life, continue with all this, and don't dedicate your life. And this is Ashirvada. Let me stay wherever I am and bless me very nicely. My life become comfortable. I get a lot of children. I get nice bank balance. I get prestige society. This is Ashirvada people are looking. And sacrifice everything for the Lord's pleasure. No, that is not needed. It's all artificial thing. So this is what Ashirvada people want. So Jigyasu prayer and Shreya. Tasmad Guru Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya. So you surrender to Guru when you have Jigyasu, you have an inquiry. What kind of inquiry? Shreya, not prayer. Shreya means ultimate good, not immediate. We want immediate good. But Shreya means ultimate good. I am looking for ultimate good. That is why I take shelter of the Acharya and I have inquiries. Now they know there is a discussion going with Vidura and Maitreya, and they know they are very elevated people, both of them. Like Parikshit Maharaj and at the same time Shukdev Goswami, both of you are devotees. And Maitreya and at the same time Vidura, both of you are devotees. And therefore discussion between them, even though one is playing part of a student, other is playing part of the teacher, is full of spiritual realization. So many learnings can come because of very elevated talks. They're talking words of realization. They're having intense inquiry actually to understand so many subject matter. And Vidura will inquire very humbly and very basic things. Not that it's okay, now please tell me about Radha Krishna. No. He's not going to do that. In fact, Prabhupada says, Vidura could have directly gone to meet Krishna. He was such a great advanced devotee of Krishna. But he's feeling living with Duryodhana and the stuff, I'm impure now. Let me purify myself for some time. Therefore, Vidura did not directly go to meet Krishna at Dwarka. Then let me go to Tirthyatra and purify myself first. Then I before go to Dwarka. And also he was hearing Maitreya and got an opportunity before meeting Maitreya, actually got an opportunity to meet Uddhava, and he relished the discussion. But Uddhava says, Vidura ji, Maitreya ji passed me, you go to him. Out of his etiquette, and he should not address when another senior person is nearby there, Maryada. He said, no, you go to him, he will instruct you. So because of that, Vidura came to Maitreya, and Maitreya is also pure devotee, and both are starting a discussion, as the Bhagavad is pointing out. And there Prabhupada is taking privilege in the purport, saying that Parikshit Maharaj knew that this discussion of Maitreya and Vidura will be very elevated and full of devotional pleasure. Just like discussion between Krishna and Arjuna is also very elevated. Arjuna says, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Bhakto asime chaka sakachati. Arjuna, you are my devotee, Saka, and you are my friend. Therefore, rahasya mided uttamam. I am giving you the most confidential teaching of the Veda. Bhakto asime sakachati rahasya uttamam. The same way, Maitreya is going to reveal to Vidura elevated subject matter. Also, when you are teaching in public, we should also be sure first there is a medium like that. If there is no respect in medium like that, there is no need to reveal elevated subject matter. It is very difficult to understand. But it can be understood, anything can be understood when probably we have proper orientation and proper audience. So Vidura and Maitreya became proper audience. In Bhagavad Gita, we see 9th chapter, Krishna says, in the 10th chapter, in the 10th chapter. Yes, Manad, what is the shloka? Machita matagata prana.
Hi Krishna Prabhuji. Madchitta madgata prana bodhayanta parasparam
Kathayancha.
kathayantascha mam nityam tushyanti cha ramanti cha.
Yeah. Machita matagata prana. The devotees are constantly thinking about him and put him in the heart. Machita matagata. Both they're always talking about Krishna. And when they do that, Kathayantascha mam nityam, always, not that they do only one day, 2 days, constantly they're doing that. Tushyant, they take great pleasure. Just like we are reading Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, every day a habit should be there of at least half an hour, 1 hour personal reading. And in that time you develop dependence, you cultivate, just like japa. How you feel without chanting, same way you'll feel if someday you're not read the books. Because Prabhupada knows the art to rein in our mind, to hold our mind, which is like a monkey. One person went to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, the mind is very disturbed. Prabhupada, yes, do you read my books? I don't get time. Then what can I do? The mind will be agitated, it is disturbed. So actually develop, cultivate dependence on reading these books and chanting Hare Krishna. Sometimes what happens, information is over. I understood the basics. I understood I am not body, I am spirit, soul. I understood Krishna is my Lord. I understood we should go to Vaikuntha servant. That is okay. But then how much I am able to perceive that, how much I am able to realize that. There's a long way to go. Can't you see that? Sometimes you become lazy. What is there to study? Yeah, no, I'm not body of spirit. Same thing he's saying in every purport only. And then read. You have to realize that. You hear from all angles the philosophy, the examples, the quotation from the Shastra, and you're hearing the heart of a pure devotee. Totally, these books are not just physical books, their books are the greatest asset on earth. Once we were going in Bangalore, we were going house to house to collect funds for our Bangalore temple. Suddenly I landed in a house, huge painting of Prabhupada. Totally surprised. Now, generally in ISKCON temple, somebody do, or a congregation. In neither congregation of our temple, neither thing, and how it is like that. So I knocked on the door, and the person was very happy to receive us. He inquired, he said that, see, we're building a temple and we need help. Oh, definitely. And he gave a good donation and said, I'll help you to take you. He took us to the neighbors also. I said, one thing I didn't know, what is the big painting? You have such a big painting of Prabhupada. Oh, yes, I know, he's your Acharya. I belong to Sri Vaishnavas and I was a pujari. And at the time, Prabhupada visited Tirupati temple. And then when you're Acharya, we gave a special darshan. They locked the whole temple. Only Prabhupada allowed. They say he's not ordinary. He's an extraordinary advanced devotee. So anyway, so they gave very, very special respect to Prabhupada, and they gave him all worship. They gifted a land, that is Tirupati temple today, to Prabhupada. So then, after that is over, he said, I was a puchari. And I went to Prabhupada and I asked a question, Swamiji, do you know Sanskrit? Because I was very proud, I am a scholar of Sanskrit. Prabhupada said, little. A simple word, humbly said little. And he said, later I came to know Prabhupada had written so many books that translated from Sanskrit to English and other things. I felt ashamed. And the way the Acharya said, the way he was conducting, the real hero. I was touched. Okay, so it's not easy actually to recognize a great Acharya. Sometimes it needs mercy, mercy of Krishna. So therefore, when every day you sit and read, that's what I remember when I joined the temple. Every day I used to read Prabhupada books, 1.5 hours. And after a few days, suddenly a feeling came in my heart. Prabhupada is so great. And actually, I still relish that day because that faith and it's a revelation. Just like Krishna reveals himself, pure devotees also reveal themselves. Otherwise, how do you know? Maitreya is such a great sage, Vidura is such a great sage. As you read Bhagavatam, not in the words, and as you read their discussion, oh, Vidura is so great. Look what kind of question he's asking. He's so humble, he's so great. So you develop respect. So we do need real idols and heroes in our life. And that's why when you have idol and hero, you try to become like that. If there is no reading, you may see so many people, they don't read Prabhupada books. Then their idol and heroes are some material people. They don't have no aspiration, no desire to advance the spiritual life and become perfect because they're not made, they're not rewired the system to read. These are real heroes. When you read Bhagavatam, you read Bhagavad Gita, some new heroes become part of your life. I remember once somebody took Chaitanya Charitamrita and they read the books many times. That occasion to visit them. So I was talking to them, they said so much they are enjoying Krishna consciousness. They're enjoying reading Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I asked them, so did you read Chaitanya Charitamrita? Yes, we read 2-3 times, the whole line by line we read. So who is your hero? Haridas Thakur. I said, yes, you read the book properly. So when we read these books, we get new kind of heroes. And their emotion, their affection, their consciousness, you are transported to another platform for a few hours, totally transported. So we should have take an opportunity and drink. Pibata Bhagata Rasamale Aho Muhu Rasika Bhuvi Bhavaka. Take opportunity to read all these books and benefit. Hare Krishna, Kamaleshji, Hare Krishna. Is it our own Kamlesh? He may be in office now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavad pranams.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
Can I add something?
Yes, Prabhuji. In Bhagavad Gita 15.15, Lord says that in all the Vedas, there is nothing but the urge for searching after him. Thus, the questions that pertain to Krishna are the sum and substance of all the Vedic inquiries. The whole world is, Prabhupada says in first canto, in one purport, the whole world is full of questions and answers. The birds, the beasts, and men are all busy in the matter of perpetual question and answers. Although they go on making such questions and answers for their whole lives, they are not at all satisfied. Satisfaction of the soul can only be obtained by questions and answers on the subject of Krishna. So forgetting Krishna, we have created so many objects of question and answers, but none of them are able to give us complete satisfaction. So Srimad Bhagavatam deals with questions and answers that are related to Krishna. Sutta Goswami says to Shaunakadi rishis, he first glorifies the questions first for the Shaunakadi rishis, and he says, your questions are worthy because they relate to Lord Krishna, and so are the relevance to the world's welfare. He says that Krishna samprishno lokamangalam yenatma suprasidati, self-satisfying. the questions related to Krishna, which is Lokamangalam, and it is self-satisfying. And the human life is for self-realization. Atato Brahma Jijnasa. And the process is Tadvidhi Pranipatena, Hariprashnena Sevaya, Upadekshanti Te Jnanam, Jnanina Tattvadarshina. We should inquire submissively, we should inquire with the spiritual master or guru, spiritual guru. And in Sukadeva Goswami also says to Parikshit Maharaj, Varyan Eshe Prashna, he says that your question is glorious because it's very beneficial to all kinds of people. The answer to this question is the prime subject matter for hearing, as it is approved by all transcendentalists, Sukadeva Goswami says. And yes, Vidura is a great and pure devotee of the Lord, it is mentioned here. And Vidura never felt bad for himself when Duryodhana threw him out. He thought, what happened to me was really good. Why? Because I am out of Mahabharata. I'm not going to see the war. I use this time to yatras, to holy places, and meet Maitreya. And he met Maitreya and Uddhava, and he got transcendental knowledge. Came back to the Hastinapur, and who was not there when he came back? The man who throws him out, Duryodhana. Duryodhana had told, you will never step foot in this palace. Ironically, Vidura, who accepted that he was thrown out, was given the chance to come back again. But he has not come back to say, so that you told like this, I came now. But because Duryodhana had lost his life already. So Vidura came back for only one thing. He came to serve his brother, Dhritarashtra. He didn't came back with the idea that I am very pure now. I give the spiritual knowledge. No, he didn't say like that. He came out of love for his brother. So persons like Vidura means they see the hand of Krishna in everything. They don't feel sorry for themselves. Hare Krishna. Brothers.
Hare Krishna. Very nice. When Yudhishthira Maharaj received Vidura, and what does he say? It's a Tirtham Kurvanti Tirtham. He said, my dear Vidura, you are creating Tirthas. You don't have to even go to Tirtha. You're so elevated. So it's an opportunity we should see. Now Vidura Maitreya discussion is started. It's a great opportunity. It's elevated discussion. So much good questions are there for us to learn. The whole Vedic literature is meant for that.
Prabhuji, your voice is not audible.
Really? Today or just now? It was throughout like that, or now it has become?
No, now it is.
Hare Krishna. Now it is better. Now it is still better.
Yes, Prabhuji, now it's better.
Yeah. It's all auto systems they have and all nonsense. Maybe the conch blew, so it reduced the speaker sound. I receive. Now, anyway, so we see that there are whole Vedic literature like question. Atata Brahma Jigyasa. That's the Vedanta Sutra at the beginning of the Vedas. Now please ask questions. Just like a university. Please ask questions. How much you feel privileged to enter such a university. Suppose you join a university and outside, please ask questions. How much you feel happy to enter a university like that. Correct? Oh, I can ask questions. So, in our Gita course, also one of the reasons has been successful. We are answering questions of people for hours. Teachers are putting all the layers. People are loving it. Oh, I can ask questions. I can clarify anything. That's very nice. Take care. So, whether of the great and pure devotee to the Lord, therefore, this question must be great. So, Parikshit Maharaj said, I want to hear. The discussion between Vidura and Maitreya, I want to hear. And Vidura keeps hearing Maitreya Muni, keeps asking, hearing, till he's totally satisfied, totally tripta. Ah, wonderful. And then he goes to preach to his brother, and Dhritarashtra, and enlighten him in spiritual life. At this time, he's successful. Previous time, he tried to enlighten him, but he was too materialistic. At this time, he can pull him out of his material rut and take him for spiritual enlightenment. Okay. Hare Krishna. Actually, from one more thing we can learn that every person is open to suggestion. What is that? Preaching means the foundation is every person in this world is open to suggestion. He may take it or not take it, but there is opportunity there. He is open. So after hearing all the discussion, like Dhritarashtra finally decided, okay, I take a spiritual life. So like Narad Muni also preached to Mrigari, he also took. So may take, may not take, but there is some kind of opportunity always. That is the basis of preaching. To preach, people are listening, people are open to suggestion, and they can change their life. Hare Krishna. Anything to add? Aishwarya Mataji, like to add something?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, like Sanatan Goswami, he actually asked, Kayami, who am I? So he knew everything, but still he is asking for us to know about Krishna. So it is said, Jivasya Tattva Jitnyasa. We should inquire about Krishna and about self, and it's possible only in human life. And Prabhupada says, if we read his books and hear his lectures, we get all the answers to the questions, because Prabhupada have directly spoken to us and touched our heart through the lectures. And even Mahaprabhu, he didn't ask any question to Prakashananda Saraswati. So he says, we don't have questions if we didn't understand anything, or we understood everything. So this human form of life we should use to inquire about God. And everyone want to be happy, but they don't know how to be eternally happy and spiritually happy. So that is possible. And Dhruv Maharaj also inquired to his mother Suniti, where can I find God? And in 6 months he could find God through his tapasya. And so when people go for material benefits, Gaura Kishoridas Babaji used to hide in public toilets because he don't want to answer their material questions, because only spiritual questions can elevate us. Hare Krishna Babaji.
Yes, Hare Krishna. So all the TV, newspaper is all full of material questions and material answers. So as we become spiritually advanced, we should lose interest in that. Bhakti pareshanubhava virakti anyatasa. We should have total detachment from these kind of questions. Whole world is full of question answers. What we are interested in, we are seeking answers to spiritual questions. So man is known by what kind of question predominate in his mind. So in my mind, question should predominate how to advance the spiritual life. Then I will be attracted to these kind of. We will, oh, Vidra Mitra discussion, I want to hear. Hare Krishna. Vacha kalpatarubhascha kripa sindhva evacha bhaktanam
Pavanetyo Vaishnavekyo Namo Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna Prabhuji.
Pranavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.